May 7th, 2025. Alarm appears to be rising about how the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, is consolidating data about Americans. Hannah Nathanson, Joseph Menn, Lisa Ryan, and Rachel Siegel wrote in the Washington Post today that DOGE is racing to build a single centralized database with vast troves of personal information about millions of U.S. citizens and residents. In the past, that information has been carefully siloed, and there are strict laws about accessing it. But under billionaire Elon Musk, who appears to direct DOGE, although the White House has said he does not, operatives who may not have appropriate security clearances are removing protections and linking data. There are currently at least 11 lawsuits underway claiming that DOGE has violated the 1974 Privacy Act, regulating who can access information about American citizens stored by the federal government. Musk and President Donald Trump, as well as other administration officials, claim that such consolidation of data is important to combat waste, fraud, and abuse, although so far they have not been able to confirm any such savings, and their cuts are stripping ordinary Americans of programs they depend on. White House spokesperson Harrison Fields told the Washington Post reporters that DOGE's processes are protected by some of the brightest cybersecurity minds in the nation and that every action taken is fully compliant with the law. Cybersecurity experts outside the administration disagree that a master database is secure or safe, as DOGE is bypassing normal safeguards, including neglecting to record who has accessed or changed database information. The Ash Center for Democratic Governance and Innovation at Harvard's Kennedy School explains that data can be altered or manipulated to redirect funds, for example, and that there is substantial risk that data can be hacked or leaked. It can be used to commit fraud or retaliate against individuals. The Ash Center also explains that the U.S. government data is an extraordinarily valuable treasure trove for anyone trying to train artificial intelligence systems. Most of the data currently available is from the internet and is thus messy and unreliable. Government databases are comprehensive, verified records about the most critical areas of Americans' lives. Access to that data gives a company significant advantages in training systems and setting business strategies. Americans have not given consent for their data to be used in this way, and it leaves them open to loss of services, harassment, discrimination, or manipulation by the government, private entities, or foreign powers. Josh Marshall of Talking Points Memo suggests Musk's faith in his AI company is at least part of what's behind the administration's devastating cuts to biomedical research. Those who believe in a future centered around AI believe that it will be far more effective than human research scientists, so cutting actual research is efficient. At the same time, Marshall suggests, tech oligarchs find the years-long timelines of actual research and the demands of scientists on peer reviews and careful study frustrating, as they want to put their ideas into practice quickly. If the Federal Aviation Administration, or FAA, is an example of what it looks like when a tech oligarch tries to run a government agency, it's a cautionary tale. Under Trump, the FAA has become entangled with Musk's SpaceX space technology company and its subsidiary Starling satellite company, and it appears that the American people are being used to make Musk's dream come true. Musk believes that humans must colonize Mars in order to become a multiplanetary species as insurance against the end of life on Earth. On Monday, he explained to Jesse Waters of the Fox News Channel that eventually the Earth will be incinerated by an expanding sun, so humans must move to other planets to survive. In 2016, Musk predicted that humans would start landing on Mars in 2025, but in the Waters interview, he revised his prediction to possibly 2029, but more likely 2031. Critics note that while it is true the sun is expanding, the change is not expected to affect the Earth for another 5 billion years. As a frame of reference, humans evolved from their predecessors about 300,000 years ago. But getting to Mars requires lots of leeway to experiment, and Musk turned against the head of the FAA under President Joe Biden, Mike Whitaker, after Whitaker called for Musk's SpaceX company to be fined $633,009 over safety and environmental violations. Musk complained that the FAA's environmental and safety requirements were unreasonable and exasperating, and that they undercut American industry's ability to innovate. Musk continued, "The fundamental problem is that humanity will forever be confined to Earth unless there is radical reform at the FAA." Musk endorsed an employee's complaint on social media that Whitaker required SpaceX to consult on minor paperwork updates relating to previously approved non-safety issues that have already been determined to have zero environmental impact, reposting it with the comment, "He needs to resign." Musk spent almost $300 million to get Trump elected, and Whitaker resigned the day Trump took office. That same day, the administration froze the hiring of all federal employees, including air traffic controllers, although the U.S. Department of Transportation warned in June 2023 that 77% of air traffic control facilities critical to daily operations of the airline industry were short-staffed. The next day, January 21st, Trump fired Transportation Security Administration, or TSA, Chief David Pekoske, and administration officials removed all the members of the Aviation Security Advisory Committee, which Congress created after the 1988 Pan Am 103 bombing over Lockerbie, Scotland. The Trump administration vacated the positions with an eye to eliminating the misuse of resources. Today, Lori Aratani of The Washington Post reported that in February, shortly after the deadly collision of an American Airlines jet and a U.S. Army helicopter in the airspace over Washington, D.C., administration officials also stopped the work of an outside panel of experts examining the country's air traffic control system. After President Trump blamed the crash on diversity, equity, and inclusion hiring practices, career officials quit in disgust, according to Isaac Stanley Becker of The Atlantic. As they left, an engineer from Musk's SpaceX satellite company arrived. He had instructions from Musk to insert equipment from Starling, a subsidiary of SpaceX, into the FAA's communications network. On the social media platform X, Musk warned that the existing communications system for the FAA is breaking down very rapidly and was putting air traveler safety at risk. In fact, the government had awarded a 15-year, $2.4 billion contract to Verizon in 2023 to make the necessary upgrades. Starlink ties into Musk's plans for Mars. In November 2024, SpaceX pitched NASA on creating MarsLink, a version of Starlink that would link to Mars, and Starlink's current terms of service specify that disputes over service on or around the planet Earth or the Moon will be governed by the laws of Texas, but that for services provided on Mars, or in transit to Mars via Starship or other spacecraft, the parties recognize Mars as a free planet and that no Earth-based government has authority or sovereignty over Martian activities. Accordingly, disputes will be settled through self-governing principles established in good faith at the time of Martian settlement. In early March, debris from the explosion of one of Musk's SpaceX Starships disrupted 240 flights. On April 28th, air traffic controllers lost both radio and radar contact with the pilots who were flying planes into Newark, New Jersey's Liberty International Airport for about 90 seconds. In the aftermath of the incident, aircraft traffic in and out of Newark was halted, and 4 experienced controllers and 1 trainee took medical leave for trauma. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy, a former Fox Business host, suggested the Biden administration was to blame for the decaying system. His predecessor as Transportation Secretary, Pete Buttigieg, dismissed the accusation as just politics, noting that he had launched the modernization of the systems and reversed decades of declining numbers of air traffic controllers. On Monday, the White House fired Alvin Brown, the black vice chair of the National Transportation Safety Board, or NTSB, the agency that investigates civilian aviation accidents. Former FAA and NTSB investigator Jeff Guzzetti told Christopher Wiggins of The Advocate, "This is the first time in modern history that the White House has removed a board member." Musk has the power of the United States government behind him. In December, Trump nominated Musk associate and billionaire Jared Isaacman to become the next head of the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, or NASA. The Senate has not yet confirmed Isaacman, but the Republican-dominated Senate Commerce Committee advanced his nomination last week. The president's proposed budget, released Friday, calls for cutting about 25% of NASA's funding, about $6 billion, and giving $1 billion of the money remaining to initiatives focused on Mars. Yesterday, the FAA granted permission for SpaceX to increase the number of rocket launches it attempts from Boca Chica, Texas, from 5 to 25 per year, after concluding that additional launches would have no significant impact on the environment near the launch pad. The first test of a SpaceX rocket launch there in 2023 caused the launch pad to explode, and the spaceship itself blew up, sending chunks of concrete into the nesting and migration site of an endangered species and starting a 3.5-acre fire. In their hurry to rebuild, SpaceX officials ignored permitting processes. According to Texas and the Environmental Protection Agency, the company then violated environmental regulations by releasing pollutants into bodies of water. Musk is trying to make Starlink dominate the Earth's communications, a dominance that would give him enormous power, as he suggested last month when he noted that Ukraine's entire front line would collapse if I turned it off. In April, Trump delayed the rural broadband program in what appeared to be an attempt to shift the program towards Starlink. And today, Tom Perkins of The Guardian reported that the administration is going to end federal research into space pollution, which is building up alarmingly in the stratosphere, owing in part to Musk's satellites. Today, Jeff Stein and Hannah Nathanson of The Washington Post reported that the administration has been telling nations that want to talk about trade that it will consider licensing Starlink as a demonstration of goodwill and intent to welcome U.S. businesses. India, among other nations, has rushed through approvals of the satellite company. Just 1% of India's consumer broadband market could produce almost $1 billion a year, the authors report. In a statement, the State Department told Stein and Nathanson, Starlink is an American-made product that has been game-changing in helping remote areas around the world gain internet connectivity. Any patriotic American should want to see an American company's success on the global stage, especially over compromised Chinese competitors. The attempt to gain control over artificial intelligence and human communications networks, regardless of the cost to ordinary Americans, might have a larger theme. As technology forecaster Paul Sappho points out, tech oligarchs led by technology guru Curtis Yarvin have called for a new world order that rejects the nation-states around which humans have organized their societies for almost 400 years. They call instead for network states, organized around technology that permits individuals to group around a leader in cyberspace without reference to real-world boundaries, a position Starlink's terms of service appear to reflect. Mastering artificial intelligence while dominating global communications would go a long way toward breaking down existing nations and setting up the conditions for a brave new world dominated by tech oligarchs.
Letters from an American was written and read by Heather Cox Richardson. It was produced at Soundscape Productions, Dedham, Massachusetts. Recorded with music composed by Michael Moss.